everybody, welcome to Between the Sheets here on UBN Go. You can always look us up and friend us at Between the Sheets podcast. I'm so nervous. MARG HELGENBERGER's here, and I work with her for 30 years, but why am I nervous? You can follow us, as I said, at Facebook, Between the Sheets Podcast, betweenthe-sheetspodcast.com, YouTube, we're everywhere. So we have Cheryl in the house, our local and loving psychic medium. We have Mara, talented artist in the house. We have Cara.
Hello.
I just have her on for her accent.
We love her voice. Yeah, this week I'm a singer.
I have Tony. Tony's in the house tonight running the boards. And then, of course, I have a very good friend of mine who I love and adore. I've known her for 30 years. We actually are working on a show together. It's CBS's new show called All Rise, so check it out. You play one of those big judges, don't you?
Officially, I'm a supervising judge, which means I'm in charge of all the other judges.
Ooh. Yes. You are a glamorous judge, baby.
Whoa! Welcome to TV.
Exactly. Yeah.
Take me to court.
But Marg and her publicist, Lori Glass, who's sitting in the shadows, she may come up and say hi later. She's taking pictures and being a wonderful publicist. So thank you also,
Lori.
my dear.
Thanks for coming.
They brought Whispering Angel wine for us to drink tonight.
Rosé.
So I would like to toast Marg and Lori. Thank you very much for joining us. You're our first celebrity superstar
really?
guest.
Well,
Yes.
I'm honored.
Yes.
We're honored. Cheers.
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 Nice. Oh, more.
Let's start off with everyone wanting to know what her sign is, and I'm pretty sure she's a Scorpio.
Are you just guessing that, or well, you know?
No, I looked it up. Now, if Cheryl said it would be like for real.
Yeah, it would be for real if I said it, because I have no idea. I'm like, are we going there with signs already? Okay, signs.
So, just wanted to put that out there because a lot of our people, we started this joke with the signs, so we just might as well say that you're a Scorpio. So you're good in bed, I hear, because Scorpios usually are.
Well, actually, Scorpios are very psychic, by the way.
Are they?
Very intuitive. So you probably do a lot of that in your work.
Well, yes, intuition does come in handy for my profession.
Yeah.
But I've heard that before, that we're psychic, but I can't really say that I can really predict things.
But does your gut work?
Yes.
So that's sort of the same thing.
It is the same thing, right?
Yep.
It's
It
the
is.
basis of the same thing.
Yeah.
We've all got that, right?
Yeah. Going and listening to your gut. Maybe you're just better at it, I think. Maybe Scorpios are better at it, listening to their gut,
Yeah, my gut sucks. Whenever my gut says, I do the opposite because I'm screwed both ways, so it doesn't really matter.
What do you mean?
Like if there's a decision to be made, I'm a Capricorn, okay? So there's a decision to be made. First of all, I spend weeks overthinking it, like to the very detail, every possible aspect, which way it could go. But
Very analytical.
But that's what I do at photo shoots. So I think that's why I do well at CBS and doing what I do, because I'm very analytical, very methodical, very logical. Because when I go to the shoot, I have planned out every disaster that could possibly happen. So when it does happen, if it does happen, I've got a plan in place. But
it's good to have that skill.
But you can also look at you now, because you just improv this whole show,
Well, there is, like I said, there is calculated, I look like I improv, but, I usually don't. But instead of me, let's talk about our guest.
Yes.
So you are from, you're from Nebraska.
I am. I'm from North Bend, Nebraska. Population 1,200.
Still?
What? Yeah. It hasn't budged much. In fact, it's probably smaller.
It's obviously not a lot of Catholics there, because
there are a lot of Catholics there.
Well, how come they're not procreating?
Well, okay, because it's
No. You're the expert. Go ahead.
I grew up Catholic.
Okay.
And
I'm sorry. So did I.
I know, I'm a fallen Catholic. Are you?
Yeah.
But,
fuck, I am.
Cuss jar right now.
All right, calm down. Let Mark finish. I'll go dig for my money.
But and I was a farming community, right? So most of the kids I went to high school with were farm kids, right? And they had large families. It was common for families to be 8. There was one family that was 11 children, and they all worked on the farm.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, they would. But now I think, there are some families that still are having a lot of children, I have to say.
My guess is it's 20 families and there's 800 children.
A lot of it is that. There's a Manuel family in North Bend. There was a lot of siblings, and they all had many children, and then all those children had children, and, yeah.
So I'm not going to ask why you left because it seems obvious. But when did you get the acting bug? When did you think when did you know this was going to be your path? I mean, did you start out this way?
No. I mean, because
I can't see you
town, I
farming.
mean, in those days, I've been around, the professions that girls would go into if they were thinking about going to college or whatever was nursing, teaching, dental technician. My mother was a nurse, so that is a good profession.
Yeah,
you
it
can
is.
get a job anywhere, right? And Nebraskans think very practically, and so that's what I was going to do, and I took all the the requisite science courses I was supposed to leading up to going to nursing school. And but then I had been maybe my sophomore junior year, I got recruited by the English teacher who was new to the school.
Recruited in what way?
Well, I mean, she had
Oh, it was a she. Okay, never mind.
She was new, right? She was new to the school, and of course, when you're 15 and 16, somebody who's probably right out of college, so she's 23 or 24. They seem so much older.
Was it Catholic school?
No, it was.
Okay.
It was a.
Oh, you were spared. Thank God.
Yes. Well, because there was no parochial school in my town. It was so small. But I did go to catechism until I was 18.
Oh, joy.
I don't know what that is.
It's a club in Denver.
Really? Let me get out there to catechism.
Oh, that was a good one. Okay, so anyway, so the Marianne von Ryan was her name. She was wanting to start a drama, speech and drama program at the high school, and she needed students. And she said, "Please, I think you'd be good at this." Blah 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 blah, which led to me doing duet acting and then interpretation of drama, and then of course doing the plays and musicals. But I wasn't something I sought. It was something that I got pulled into, and then of course what happens to a lot of people, you get bitten by the bug, and but then it's I didn't know anybody who made a living as an actor. I mean,
Well, yeah, because they were so far removed.
Yeah.
It's I'm not there. I mean, if you were in Hollywood or you lived even in New York or Hollywood,
Chicago,
anywhere you go, yeah, sure. But Nebraska, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know anybody. I remember going to dinner theater productions in Omaha.
Omaha.
What was that like?
I mean, I guess it was coming from the little town I was. It was sort of exciting, to see these dinner theater productions, and they obviously made a salary, but not
big,
not a big. I mean, not enough to support themselves. But so anyway, I ended up going. So
I'm telling you, the show is like this. Put on your seatbelt, sister.
So then I got bitten by the bug, and then my senior year, I'm checking out schools to go to, and one of them was this all-girls Catholic.
Oh,
yes.
my.
You even consider that?
Well, my mother.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, my mother.
Thank
she
you.
says, "Oh, they have a good 4-year nursing program,
Ooh.
and it's in Yankton, South Dakota."
Oh, Jesus, that's a step up.
We went to visit it in mid-February, where it's bleak as bleak can get, because it's just so cold and there's not a leaf on the tree and all the grass is brown. You know what I mean? It's just dead winter.
Yeah.
And I went to visit this college, and it was 350 students, all girls,
Ugh.
in the middle of nowhere. And I just thought, it was just one of these. It was almost like a punch to the gut. It was just so oh my God, I can't do that. I can't.
Yeah.
No, I can't. I will suffer from severe depression or something.
Well, worse, you could be a lesbian too. I only say that because I am. Okay, I can say lesbian jokes because I am. Okay?
Lesbianism and depression are one and the same.
Because you obviously haven't been to West Hollywood lately. But go ahead.
Is that where most of the lesbians live in West Hollywood?
No, well,
I
lesbians.
mean, it used to be Boys Town.
well,
but
it
now-
still
It
is
still
Boy
is.
Town. I mean, the
Yeah.
lesbians moved to the Valley mostly.
Did
They do move to the Valley.
Okay.
Okay.
They come out sometimes though, and
But
they
if they're
frequent.
in a couple, you never see
no,
them.
no, that's weird if they were in a couple to go out. But
Yeah.
sometimes they do. So,
Wait,
anyways,
wait a minute. Lesbian couples don't go out with
well,
each other?
they do and they don't. I don't know if I had one. If I had a if I was part
If
of
you
a
had a
lesbian,
lesbian,
I was part of
you
one.
are a
I know,
lesbian.
I pretty much am.
I would not want. I hate going out to the scene, even being single. And if I had a special someone, I wouldn't want to be going out to the scene. But anyways, look at the life you could have had over there if you hadn't moved to Hollywood.
Wow.
You know what? I have to say, I've never said this to anyone, but I'm really jealous.
Oh man! So that that did it. That
Yeah.
did it. And I said to my parents that night at the dinner table, it was like a long drive. It was like a 2-hour drive back from Yankton to North Bend, and I don't remember saying a word. I was just so kind of like this devastated, or like I don't know, just weirded out by the whole thing. And I said to them at the dinner table, I said I can't. I can't do this. It just doesn't feel right. I said I want to go to a state college in Nebraska for a couple of years, a liberal arts major, and see what happens. And my dad was like, doesn't surprise me in the least. Like he kind of knew the writing was on. My mom, of course, was she was the nurse,
Yeah.
whatever. But then, so I did. I went to a school in Kearney, Nebraska, called Kearney State College, which is now part of the University of Nebraska system. And I did a lot of plays and musicals and did very well. And then my high school boyfriend was applying to Northwestern University in this program that was a pre-med program, which was 6 years. So it was
Wow.
like an accelerated program. And he said, I'll get you an application for the School of Speech, because they supposedly have this good, theater department, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, sure. So I filled out the application, sent it off, and I actually, went in for the interview, went to Evanston, Illinois, and he did not get accepted.
See, that's the worst.
didn't get accepted.
And I did.
Oh, my.
But he's done very well. He's a well-known eye surgeon in Omaha. So
Goodness.
yeah. So that's the Northwestern, I guess, because it then and still does have a very prestigious,
Very nice.
theater program. And I was with, in fact, Julie Louis-Dreyfus was there when I was there, and I don't know if you know who that-
Small world.
She is some talent.
She's
Oh my
lovely.
God.
Yeah, I know. She is a comic genius. She's got her timing and
Yeah.
she's just, yeah. And she was like, pretty, you could see it then. She was in the improv troupe at Northwestern,
Oh, okay.
which was such a boys club. It was either, all these boys, or it was, heavy set women. They didn't have it. Whereas her Julia, she got in as a freshman, and she could keep up with those guys, and she just was a natural.
Yeah. No, we had her for a minute on our network, and she was wonderful.
Yeah, she was great on that show.
Won an Emmy. And the show got canceled.
No.
Drink to
Was
that.
it just one that she won? I mean, she's won so many. She's
On
got
CBS,
oh
it
my
was
God.
Old Christine.
Yeah,
Yes.
the New
I-
Adventures of
I
Old
like
Christine.
that.
It was a fun
She was,
show.
yes, and she was, she's incapable of being bad.
No, and then
Yeah.
Veep is amazing.
I know.
Is
I know.
Everyone loves that
incredible.
show.
I mean, she's
love
just
it.
great. But enough about her. She's not
Yeah.
on my show.
She's
Love
not,
you,
but,
Julia.
But I did. So I was around, the curriculum, and then some of the teachers.
Right.
Like any school, some of the teachers are good and some aren't. But the students, they're just also like talented and focused and motivated and ambitious, and it's that energy. You feed off that energy, and so I. And then while there, I was in a production of The Taming of the Shrew, and was seen by a casting agent there, which led to a screen test for a soap opera,
Ryan's Hope.
Ryan's Hope, yes.
Which I loved.
Did you?
I was, oh my God. I was a Channel 7 or ABC soap person. It was Ryan's Hope, All My Children, General Hospital. I don't think
And
I
then-
missed one.
Well, I think there was that show called Loving.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, that
But
was.
you weren't on that one, so who cares?
No, but it was like it's because Ryan's Hope and Loving were half hours,
Right.
And the other ones were an hour. That was the heyday of soap opera.
I know. Wait,
Wow,
Courtney's
an
right.
hour.
Who played your father?
Bernie Barrow.
Bernie Barrow, and then
and Helen Gallagher played my mother.
right. I used to love her.
Yeah, she was great.
I mean, I didn't know her. I just loved her in the show.
Maeve Ryan.
Maeve Ryan. Yes, yes. Now, didn't we? Hold on. I'm trying to think. Ryan's Hope, because they're all blurs, and I'm very old.
Some of the actors that who passed through that show.
Who?
That were either did a 6-month thing or a year thing. Christian Slater.
Really?
When
What was he, a little boy?
When he was a teenager.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he was 16, and his mother, Mary Jo Slater, was a casting agent.
Wow. Oh, I know his mom. I mean,
Mary
I don't know.
Jo?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Wait. Hold on. Who was the other woman? I'm probably Opal. Was that you, or was that All My Children?
That was All My Children.
Okay, sorry.
I know.
Yeah.
Dorothy.
Yeah, whatever her name
Yes,
is. Yeah,
yes,
because I
yes.
confused them. But I remember. Yeah, I remember you on Ryan's Hope.
Yeah, it was a good experience, but
It's hard. Soap operas are hard. That's what
Yeah,
people
they
don't
are.
understand.
Yeah.
It's daily.
Yes.
And sometimes you don't really get the scripts in advance like you do a series.
But the series, you don't even get them that much.
Well,
in
it
advance.
depends on who's writing it.
You're
Like,
just not shooting the whole episode in one
Correct.
day. Like you do on soap operas.
You played it. Was it a cop on that one? Saibahan, or what was the character?
Siobhan.
Oh, Siobhan.
Siobhan.
said from the Jew in the
that's-
corner.
I don't know.
Well, that's it. Irish spelling.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Siobhan. It was pronounced Siobhan. But Siobhan. And I was the youngest Ryan child. It was unique soap opera in that it was set in New York City as opposed to these fictitious towns like Port Charles or whatever. And it was a good experience for the most part. I mean, I'm still friends with some of the people that I worked with.
How long were you on that show?
I was on it for 3.5 years.
3.5 years.
Yeah, and it shot in New York, and it was a fun time to be in New York.
Yeah.
It was the 80s.
80s. Yes.
Everything
Yeah.
was just loud
the
and
world
beautiful.
should be now what New York was in the 80s.
Oh my
and it
God,
would be such a better place.
It was so creative.
Did you do Studio 54?
It was kind of past its heyday when I got there.
Limelight.
Yeah, the Slime Light.
The Slimelight. I was
Yes.
at the Slimelight.
I went to the Slime
I
Light
went to
a
the
few
Slimelight
times.
too.
Area.
Oh my God, Area. Remember
And,
remember Area used to have that moat, and Sylvia Miles, who just passed away, was always there looking into that moat. And remember they had those things with the ram's head naked women, like in trapeze across the.
Oh yes, yes.
And the
Danceteria.
Danceteria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of them.
There was so much fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun clubs. I mean, I'm sure there's still some really fun clubs, but it's so different now. You know? I mean, it's just it's just corporate,
But Times
Right.
Square is
New York
Times Square has like an M&M store, really.
I know.
Do you remember? Well, you must remember 42nd Street.
Nathan's Hot Dogs. Remember Nathan's Hot Dogs? In Times Square. So we used to drive in from Jersey. My mother's car. I used to park it. Pray to God.
Where in Jersey are you from?
North Bergen.
Okay.
Right after the Holland and Lincoln Tunnel, next to
Right.
Hoboken.
Right.
So I used to drive my mother's car in because she never knew I was driving into New York.
Right.
I would pray to God where I parked it. A, it wouldn't get towed, and B, the hubcaps would still be on. True story.
Yeah.
I believe it.
And then on the way in, back home at about 4:30, 5 o'clock, before we went into the tunnel, we'd stop at Nathan's, go down to the basement with all these weird guys and stuff, and use the restroom before we got into the tunnel. But Times Square was wonderful back then. That seediness, I loved it.
I know.
Well,
It's lovely.
42nd Street was, it was prostitutes. It was just and just drug dealers.
Yeah.
But
those
but
days in
here's
the
the thing
80s,
though.
Viva
It was,
the 80s.
But here's the thing though. It was it had a dangerous element, but there were cops everywhere.
Yeah.
Is that right?
So, there was like the cops knew this all was going down, and it was like this, unspoken kind of code between. So you could feel sort of like confident walking down like this drug infested, prostitute infested street, and know you weren't going to be
Yeah, and
bothered.
feel safe. Completely
Probably
feel
felt
safe.
safe.
Yes,
there.
yes. I mean, they would say under their breath, the drug dealers like smoke, whatever,
Yeah.
But you just ignore.
You just ignore it.
Yeah,
But
they
they
would
didn't,
never come accost you.
Never.
Never.
But that gorgeous show, The Deuce, have you seen that? It's two
Yes,
series now.
yes, yes.
So good. It's 70s, but I mean, it's the same. Where New York was scrubby.
Yeah,
It was great.
Yeah, it was really grubby. Yeah,
loved it.
dirty. Oh my
Loved
God!
dirty.
I found this old picture, or my mom had it or something, of me in the subway when I was living there in the subway car, and it was, you can't. It's just like covered in graffiti. covered everywhere, every square inch,
Mm-hmm.
but like everything's so clean and pristine. I mean, that part I like actually.
Yeah,
that
no.
things are.
But it lost something.
Yeah, I did.
It's kind of like, even in neighborhoods and stuff
Yeah, then all the neighborhoods are
are
not as unique.
gentrified
Yeah.
and they're just all icky. But
Yeah.
good, but nice and clean now, but icky.
Yeah.
So when did you
know
go?
my ex-husband's from? Did we ever talk about this?
Is this Alan?
Alan Rosenberg? Yeah, he's from Passaic.
I didn't know. See, now I worked with Alan on Sybil. I got to know Alan well on Sybil.
Oh my! That was a rough one.
That was fun times. And then I worked on The Guardian. Was it The
Oh,
Guardian?
yeah, yes,
For
he
a
was on The
minute.
Guardian as
just
well.
for a minute. But yeah, I didn't know he was from New Jersey. I don't think we ever got that deep.
Oh yeah, Passaic. Yeah, so I've been to Passaic many times, and
that's another hot spot.
Oh yeah. And
It's like Nebraska.
yeah, and that Rutt's Hut hot dog.
Oh, yeah,
place.
Rutt's Hut. Yeah.
We'd always have to stop at Rutt's Hut and get a deep fried hot dog.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah,
gross. It's kind of gross.
It's gross.
Yeah.
But it kind of was tasty.
Yeah,
And
it sounds
always
good.
anything fried is tasty.
Anything.
True.
Anything fried is tasty.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So when did you get from New York? So I know there's some time, but like Ryan's Hope to China Beach.
Okay, so I left Ryan's Hope. I was still in New York, and I kind of finished shortly before pilot season was starting that year, which was 1986. I want to say. Oh my God, and I got cast in a pilot that was for CBS.
Which one? You remember?
Yes, it was
ahead.
called Shell Game. And it was kind of a moonlighting-esque,
Oh.
like a romantic comedy sleuthing kind of a thing. Because that
Who was
show
your
was
co-star?
Margot Kidder.
Oh, it was a girl.
Well, I mean, Margot Kidder and this guy James Reed were like, the Bruce Willis, Sybil Shepherd of that show. And then there was the three of us, Chip Zion, who's a New York stage actor, really good stage actor, and a couple of other actors that I'm kind of blanking on their names. But
They're probably dead
It
anyway.
was short. Oh my God!
Hey, everybody, hold on one second. If you want to call in and talk to us or Marg, dial, 323-524-2599. 323-524-2599. Continue.
Okay, so I got cast in a pilot, not knowing. So I was flown to Los Angeles and stayed at the Sheraton Universal.
Yeah.
That's where
been there.
they put me up. And you know who was at poolside when I was there?
I know. I saw
Just a
him.
hint.
Who?
Bald. Telly Savalas.
Oh.
Lived there.
Correct.
He did.
He did live there. Yes,
Isn't that
I was seeing
bizarre?
like in the breakfast, the cafe or whatever.
And the Sheraton
No, but at
Yeah.
poolside was Chris Noth.
Oh,
Was he good looking back then?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was handsome. But I knew of him because he was a friend of a friend or something like that. But he was like really boring and arrogant. And I mean, I've worked with Chris since then.
And he's a nice guy.
I
He's
like
still
Chris.
boring and arrogant. Okay,
No.
We can just move on.
No,
from
no,
Chris.
no.
Okay.
I like Chris. I would work with him anytime, any day. I actually, did I see him on recently?
You haven't slept with him though.
You do not have to answer that.
I'm sure it was boring if you did.
He was sitting there going,
my
"Marg,
God.
do me, do me."
Oh my God, that's hilarious. But yeah, I remember that distinctly. We were having this conversation about like Aikido, which I was studying Aikido at the time. The Japanese martial art in a dojo in New York, down in like the Chelsea area or something. But anyway, so I shot the pilot and then go back to New York and doing my thing and then lo and behold it gets picked up, right? So
Did?
yeah, it got picked up and for six episodes, which do they do that anymore?
No, so they'll do summer series.
Oh.
So maybe it was it? Did it go?
No.
Did it launch? Like it was like a
Yes.
fall launch?
Yes.
Then that means they probably didn't have hope.
They didn't have Ryan's hope.
No, they did. No, okay, I'll tell you.
But was
no, they
Margot
did
Kidder
not.
nuts? Was
yeah,
she
she was-
Superman nuts?
Why those stories legendary about her being nuts on Superman set?
I mean, she was all over. Like, I guess she went like. I mean, I think she had a mental illness.
Yeah,
I do
she
believe
did.
she had a mental illness.
Yeah.
But I was wondering because I mean, I think it was later controlled, or you get controlled. But I was wondering if she sort of was a little wacky back
She
then.
was wacky, but she wasn't. She was professional, but she was not. It wasn't like anything that was so. Oh my God, that we were like worried about. But anyway, CBS I guess didn't have that much faith in the show because it aired on a Thursday night when Thursday was owned by NBC. It was the Cosby Show. It
And
was
Family
Family
Ties, yes.
and like those were the two big ones that I remember, and and that was when you really relied on Nielsen ratings.
Yeah.
So it just tanked immediately.
We're unlikely to see any reruns of the Cosby Show, are we? Really?
Thank
it's not going
God.
to come back, is it?
No.
Have they pulled them all?
I would imagine.
I see them all over.
Oh.
Actually, I don't really know if they're on like Netflix or Hulu, but I see them like going for $5.99 for the season at Target. If anyone wants to actually get them.
Yeah, I know.
He ruined everything for me. I'm sorry, but like that, I can't watch the show anymore. But growing up, that was the lineup.
Oh,
it
it
was
was a great
Cosby
show.
Show, Family Ties
Another
with
great
Alex
show.
P. Keaton, Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
major
Yeah.
crush on him.
He was so
and then
cute on that
He
show.
was cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
amazing.
Adorable.
I
Yeah.
loved his character. I loved that whole show. Was great. Yeah. So sorry. Go back to you.
No, I mean,
Diverse.
all about Mara for a minute. Now we go all about
I
Mara.
feel better now.
but yeah, so it was, but you know who was one of the writers on that show, who was the first time I had worked with him, was John Wells.
Oh,
And John Wells, who, went on to, ER and West Wing and on and on and on, Shameless and directs films and so on. But I knew him from China Beach.
I was going to say that was the connection.
Yes, that was the connection. That was the only connection I had to anybody was on China Beach was John Wells. But I don't know if he wasn't on the pilot. Well, I guess most people they get hired on after the pilot, the writers and stuff. But then so then I moved on to China Beach and did a few episodic guest starring as like Matlock and. Oh my God, Matlock! That was it was a two-parter. It was this two-parter season opener.
Ooh, I like that.
And that was a very popular show. She's looking at me.
Yes, look.
Be careful.
Well, my husband found it a couple Christmases ago.
Really?
Like, in our family home down in Florida, he's flipping the channels and I'm still sleeping. He's like, "Hey, that looks like Marg. Hey, that is Marg."
Matlock.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, it was Andy Griffith and who played Matlock, and he was already at that point
80.
but close. I mean, he was. I think he was
an
in
older
his
gentleman,
Yes, I think he was in his.
What year are we talking about?
This would have been
90s?
no. This was before China Beach.
Okay.
So this was probably 87.
And the Andy Griffith show was in the 50s, right? And he was like 30
you mean
then.
Mayberry RFD?
Yeah, that one.
Yes.
So that's like if he was 30 then.
It's probably 80.
80, I was
Yeah.
right. 70 maybe 70.
In his, he was probably in his 70s. Anyway, but so like when I at one point, I guess like at lunch, whatever, and he was a lovely guy. It was, but he says, "Oh, I'd like to." He says, "Let me introduce you to this young woman who was like my age at the time, like I was like 27 or something," and he introduced her as his wife. And I was like, I thank God I had the foresight or whatever, the presence of mind not to start laughing because I thought he was joking.
Right.
But what's even more, but you know what? What's even more horrifying is to look at them and just automatically picture them in bed.
No.
Well, and she wasn't like
Was she good looking?
She was like a real
Normal?
country girl.
Okay, a normal girl.
Yeah, a normal girl. Yes, and
Was he related to her?
Perhaps. I don't know. But yeah, no, he was definitely. definitely, yeah. That was shocking to me that he was married to a woman so young. And I mean, she was from like North Carolina, where I think was originally.
I think he's from there. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but China Beach kind of changed the game for me in terms of just getting seen for a lot of other things. You know,
But that was groundbreaking television.
Yeah, it was. For those of you who don't know, it was set during the Vietnam War, and it was set at an R&R base that was really existed in Vietnam near Da Nang, and it also, well, for I guess dramatic purposes, the creators of the show, John Sacred Young and Bill Broyles, they added a triage unit to the compound. Like the original place was strictly R&R because it was gorgeous beach, which I finally made it to the real China Beach.
Oh, you did?
Yes, about 2 years ago.
Wow.
Yes. I took went from Japan because my son was teaching in Japan for 2 years, and he met his future wife. They're now married, a Japanese girl named Miki, and so he had a week off from over Christmas time. So we all went down to Cambodia and then Vietnam. And,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was amazing. But yeah, the experience on China Beach, because it was the writing was just was very good, and the characters were interesting. I played this character that was named Casey from KC, who was just a fascinating character. I mean, you never knew how she got to Vietnam, why she was in Vietnam. She wasn't a nurse. She wasn't in the army. She wasn't a USO performer. She wasn't with the Red Cross. But she was somehow gotten there, whether it was like under the guise of being a civilian secretary, or something like that. But she ended up. One of the things she did was she was to service like the officers, but she also. She was an entrepreneur. She was like kind of ahead of her time.
Yeah, quite frankly, yeah.
Yeah, she sold cars to the GIs. She was like had an import-export business. She started a hair salon on the base. It was a fun part.
No, it was great. I remember watching that, and that to me at the time, because there was no DVRs or any of this stuff back then. There was
VHS
or VCRs, but I didn't pay attention to that. So literally back in those days, it kind of was must-watch TV. I mean, you made appointment television.
Yes, you did.
You did make appointment television,
and there were some good shows back then. There was Twin Peaks.
Yep.
There was 30-something.
30-something. Weren't you on that for a second? Like, did you have something?
30-something?
Yeah.
I did an episode. I guest starred.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was a good experience too. Yeah, because that show was really hot.
It was hot at the time.
Yeah.
Although I never loved it because it was like a bunch of whiny adults.
I know. A bunch of whiny white people.
Sound like millennials now. Just kidding.
Except they're more diverse.
Oh my God. Poor millennials.
I'm so sorry. No,
They get such a bad rap, millennials.
Have you tried talking to one? Not talking
I
about
have
your
one.
son. No, your son. But your son was raised differently. Have you ever tried, like, go into a market and try and talk to a millennial and ask them for service?
Oh, I can't. Because my son is one.
Yeah,
I can't.
All right. Well, we bashed them enough, so we bashed them enough for you. So then, did you? Because I don't remember, because I did my research. Did you or did you not get nominated or anything while you were on China Beach?
I got nominated 3 times for an Emmy,
And what bitch did you lose it to?
But I won an Emmy
Okay.
1 year, 1990. I was 8 months pregnant with my son Huey at the time, and yeah, that was the things you think about, when those, because first off, I was quite pregnant, and I remember Bebe Neuwirth had won for, I think she was in Cheers.
Cheers.
Because
I think,
before
yeah.
Frasier, right? She was like Frasier's girlfriend, wasn't
Correct.
she? On Cheers.
On Cheers, and that's how that's.
So she had won, Best Supporting Actress in a Comedy Show, like right before me or something. I just remember, like, the way she just like zipped up those stairs to receive her Emmy, and I thought, oh my God, if I get my name is, I don't think I'm not gonna be able to zip up those stairs. And then my name was called, and the actor who's now deceased, Richard. I can't remember his name. Oh my God, he was on a sitcom that was on NBC, which of course I'm blanking on right now.
Empty Nest?
Yes.
He was on Soap.
So
Yes.
Richard, I don't remember his
Yes,
last name.
yes. He announced my name, and he, of course, my name gets mispronounced often. It gets mispronounced Marge instead of Marg, and he said Marge Helgenberger, and I did correct him on live, but I felt I needed to.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. It wasn't anything against him. Anyway. So okay, that getting up those stairs, and then. This was really weird. Like, so I go off, they escort you off, and they take you backstage where you meet with all press and photographers, etc. But maybe because I was 8 months pregnant, I had this thought thinking, this is so weird. This is going to be weird. Like, somebody could just, like, kidnap me and take me someplace like I wouldn't know where I was going.
It's the hormones. It probably was the hormones.
Yeah.
It had to be
Estrogen,
because
right?
who the fuck thinks that?
Right.
I know. That's what I thought. It wasn't like, oh my God, I just want an Emmy. Right?
No, because then you probably would have given birth. So that's a good thing.
I mean, yes, I was excited, but I remember that thinking, and I remember thinking that was a weird thought to have.
Yeah.
But I probably because I was pregnant.
Yeah,
and I was
it
like,
has to be.
It's not just me
hormonal.
that I'm like,
And you're protective too, right?
Yeah.
Your heightened antennas are up, right? That mother bear
That's a good
instinct
point.
steps in. You're
Yes,
already thinking
exactly.
forward, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
What was it like winning an Emmy? Like, how could you
gosh.
describe that?
Oh God. I mean, I suppose it would have been more nerve-wracking if I wasn't pregnant, because I was, it was a thrill, and
it puts you into the next bracket, doesn't it? It
Yes,
heightens your stardom.
Yes, it
Yeah.
definitely
Fantastic.
does. Yes, it definitely. Yeah, that show was like a real, like I said, game changer for me. And
But it was a fun cast too. Like Dana's a friend of mine, Dana Delaney.
yeah,
And you guys worked a lot together.
Yes, we did. We did.
And,
we had a good time working. I mean, we really had a good chemistry.
Well, it showed on screen.
Yeah.
It really did. And she's going to come on the show, and she was like, I want to come on when Marg's on. I'm like, sorry, I can't fit you in the same room.
That would be fun to do that with
would be
her.
fun.
Well,
though,
you know what?
actually.
When she comes on, if you want to come back on, we might as well bring
my
everybody
God.
and do a China Beach reunion. Why not?
Oh, nice.
We've had a few of those over the years.
I know, but did they ever try and remake it? Or you know how they sometimes do those wraparound shows where like 20 years later, then they get everybody and they get everybody interviewed and they do the clip reel and tell stories. Did they ever do that for China Beach?
I mean, it was the Paley Center did a thing for us, and they also, because the show, because of the use of music, it had like this extraordinary collection of music of that era, which included the great Motown and rock music and you name it, right? So, which was the soundtrack of the Vietnam War, and. But when it came time to like syndicating that show, and when it came time to like, that's why it can't even be streamed. They finally released the DVD collection of all the episodes, but every single artist of all this music that was used on that show had all those deals had to be negotiated, and it took like 8 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because it included like Bob Dylan and
Right.
Sir Paul McCartney and on and on and on and on, So therefore, I don't know that in order for that show to be streamed, because I get this like on Twitter or whatever, followers were saying, how can I see this show? Well, the only way you can really see it is if you get this DVD collection. And so unfortunately, it's almost like, kind of like caught up in.
It's like a show that never happened because Murphy Brown, I mean, I worked on the original Murphy Brown. Yes, I'm that old.
Yes, Murphy Brown was on when we were,
And
the original Murphy Brown.
And everyone, when we were starting to launch it for the new one, that got canceled. We were trying to put it on because it was nowhere, but it was the same thing because they used Motown music. And that's why it never was in syndication. That's not one of the reasons. I mean, I don't know what the reason it got canceled.
Is it still not in syndication?
They
Murphy Brown?
bought a few episodes to at least get out there, but it's still not in syndication. I think you can find it like in some weird things, but I don't know how they get around that.
Yeah, the music thing. Yeah.
But speaking of music, I know I know as a fact, because I've known you a long time, that you love music.
I do. Yes.
And I'll never forget this one group, and it's a long time ago that you turned me on to. Black Rebel Motorcycle.
Yes. What? They were friends of mine.
I had no idea. All I know is Marg and I were between China Beach and CSI. There were a lot of movies of the week.
Yes.
And she was one of the movies of the week queens.
The 90s.
The 90s.
Really?
And I worked with her on those because I did China Beach. So I'm after China Beach Marg, which is 30 years ago. And we had some really interesting times on those movies of the week. But I remember we were doing... After we did the movies of the week, we would send the photographer on location, whatever. They shoot photography, and then we always had to do a print advertising shoot.
Yes.
And always after the fact when there was money. And so I remember this one shoot. We always asked the actor, what would you like to hear? And she pulled out a whole bunch of CDs. She goes, play this one. I'm looking at it going, Black Rebel Motorcycle Club. And I still have that CD somewhere in my collection.
Oh, you do?
I do. So what are you listening to now?
You know what I'm obsessed with this summer? Billie Eilish.
I love Billie Eilish. Are you a bad guy?
Yeah, oh my God. Oh my God. So
What
you're
kind of
a
music is
tough
it?
guy, like it really rough guy. Get enough guy, just a puff guy.
She's only 17. Jesus.
Oh my God. It's
Go
just
on.
a old soul.
Yeah.
Oh, so talented, so talented. I mean, she's like the big sensation this summer. In fact, they even like re-released that song "Bad Guy" with Bieber doing a verse.
Wow.
That's big.
When Bieber comes into your song, then you know you've made it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm sure she listened to Bieber when
Right.
she was
Yeah.
7 years old or
Probably,
whatever.
yeah,
you know,
that's
6
true.
and 7 years old. So she's probably thrilled as all get out.
Yeah, I would think so.
But yeah, I love. Yes, she's so. I mean, I've gone back to she had a music like when she was released at 15.
exactly.
On SoundCloud. I guess she's the first big SoundCloud star. Yeah.
Well, the music business sucks now anyway.
but there's a lot. Well, the music, the
business
business sucks, but
business sucks.
there's good music being being made and
Because
and
the thing
produced
was,
and
like the 70s, I mean, the 70s was kind of weird. I mean, they had good music. I like rock. So, I mean, rock music was
same.
okay.
I like rock music.
80s was awesome because it was a whole new
Yes,
sound.
yes.
It was totally different. Synthesizers, just insanity. The 90s,
Grunge.
Grunge.
Ska.
But I don't like ska. But I mean, the grunge thing came, but there was a lot of one-hit wonders in the 90s. Just a lot of one-hit wonders.
Yeah,
And then it kind of sort of shifted then to hip hop and R&B.
Yes.
Which predominated it, and it sort
For
of
a long
like
time.
left no area for other music to develop. I mean, they were out there, and you had to find it. But everything on the radio, everything everywhere was hip hop, R&B, and I don't know. Are you a fan of that stuff?
In the 90s.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, also when I was close to about 8 months pregnant, I went to a Public Enemy concert.
Oh, no, you did.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
I did.
They're pretty dirty.
Fight the power. That be.
Fight the power. Wow. This is when you were pregnant?
I was pregnant, yes. I mean, and the whole Nation of Islam was up on stage with them. And,
Well, you never mind. Zip. I'm not going to say what I just was going to say. I'm politically correct sometimes.
yeah, I don't really listen to Public Enemy much these days, but I do. I like R&B. I mean,
I love art, but that's music. See, to me, that's music.
but there's some hip hop that or well, I can't say like listen to that much rap, but like hip hop that has like a good
beat.
groove, you
Yes.
know, or yeah.
Do you like to dance?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
Come on, put on a song. Let's see Mark dance.
Oh, no.
I would never do that to you. Never.
Well, you know, one of my favorite places to dance is either at a rap party,
Okay.
you know, because everybody's having a good time. And you've wrapped your show for the season, or in those days, sometimes you'd have rap parties for the days of movies of the week, right?
Right.
Or wedding dances, because it's like all ages, right? Everybody's up on the dance floor. Everybody's having a good time. And it's just so much fun. I love it. I'm going to I'm going to my ex-husband's wedding.
Oh, Alan's getting married?
He's getting married on August 3rd.
Oh, wow. See, I love that you guys still talk.
We talk pretty often. We talked earlier today, in fact, actually.
So would you like consider him a close friend?
Yes, for sure. Yes.
Because how long you were together for a while? No,
we were together a long time. We were together 23 years. Married almost 20. Yeah. So I still consider him my soulmate.
Yeah.
And we're just, it's, and we have a son together, so, that's
well, that's the good part. But how many couples do you know, famous or not famous, that have children and they just put like themselves first and all that crap and that arguing, and it's just ridiculous.
You should put the children first. End of story.
Yeah.
Always be friends.
Yeah.
Always. Yes, always.
rare.
Unless
Yeah.
somebody's just so grotesque. If somebody, one of the, whether it's,
Well, it's like
which person it is, but.
Well, I mean, if your husband's a pedophile, I mean, like that's like the worst thing ever. I mean,
Oh my God.
I mean, seriously, that would be like the worst scenario in a marriage
my
if your
God.
husband is a pedophile. I mean, he could steal and do drugs, but when they're a pedophile, to me, that's like the worst thing anybody could be.
That
ever.
reminds me of this. I read this. It was this feature story in the New York Times about a woman who was doing a one-woman show about her experience. She discovered that her husband, he was child pornography. He had was visiting all these sites and stuff. They stayed married though. That's the thing. They had 2 children together and they stayed married. And I'm not telling tales out of school because it was in the New York Times.
Right.
He was the actress, Jane Alexander.
Yes.
The actress Jane. It was her. It's her son.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, and they worked through this through therapy, and they stayed together, and they're raising their children together. But oh my God, I don't. That would be, I don't know.
That would be horrible to I couldn't. I don't even want to. I mean, I don't want to even be friends with the pedophile. If I find somebody like a pedophile as a friend, I wouldn't even do it.
That's
like the worst crime I think ever.
Speaking of crime, I sorry to segue here, but
Are you going to talk about CSI?
I was going to get into that actually.
Nice one, baby.
Well, as long as we're talking about pedophiles and all that. No, but I saw you on Letterman. I was watching some of your old, it was on YouTube, and I was watching you on Letterman, and he was asking you about you having to do research to get into the part, and you said something about you were in Vegas and there was a body, and you were so cool about it because you didn't want to make it look like it was, you didn't want to sensationalize the truth of being there and actual life that was lost. But you did bring up that you had to go on and do these things that for research, right?
Yes. I mean, that's one of the great things about being an actor is that you get to live these lives vicariously through, like this. I've doing this show, All Rise, CBS Mondays at 9. This fall, September 23rd. Maybe?
Sure.
Okay. Anyway, so I've been observing a judge in her courtroom in Pasadena. My son's in law school, so he's externing with this woman judge, and she's a contemporary, and it's family law, so it's like child custody cases, which is of course sad and all that stuff. But on a CSI, oh God, I loved writing with this criminalist. Yolanda McCleary is her name, and my character, Catherine Willows, was loosely based on her. Anthony Zeiker, who created CSI, had spent a lot of time with some criminalists before he created this show. And oh yeah, one of the calls when I was on a ride with her was, dead body at the Hard Rock Hotel. Wow. And
Wow.
Yeah, and then he ended up being this gentleman, the deceased, ended up being, because I had gone to Vegas specifically to ride with her, Yolanda, and then visit the coroner's office and actually witness autopsies.
Oh my
Because I'd never done that.
Oh my goodness.
And I felt, here I'd been doing the show for 2 years, and I was in a lot of scenes with, looking over dead bodies, but they were all prosthetic or whatever, right? So anyway, when we're in the hotel room, while we're I'm going through this because she's was letting me kind of I put on gloves, and she helped me she says, so what do you think we should collect.
It was like a test. It was like a real life test. Like shit.
Yeah.
What do you fancy? Pick and choose.
Experiencing.
Yeah. So, and there was like suspicious circs, as they used to call it, with the fact that the door had been left ajar and there was like leaves on his shirt and stuff. And anyway, so she and we checked out his toiletries, blah blah blah. There didn't seem to be like a lot of suspicious things. It just looked you surmise that he died of like drugs and alcohol, but you don't know because. You got to open it up and then do the toxology reports.
But see, in TV,
and stuff.
if it was a TV thing, he'd be it was in his hotel room with some stuff. It'd be in television that he was actually on the parking lot with drugs and alcohol. Someone did him, dragged him through the bushes, put him back in the hotel room. I mean, that's totally TV.
The flashback, all those flashbacks. Yeah. So anyway, Yolanda said, I bet since you're going to the coroner's office the following day, I bet he'll be one of the bodies. Oh. And he was.
Did you say hi?
Oh, wow. Yeah, so that was interesting to, it's not for the weak stomach.
No.
Hey, Marg, do you get a lot of fan mail from the CSI from, girls growing up wanting to go into that field? And, it just seems like it's such a big draw for
I get so
people.
many girls still that come up to me, girls and young women that say, I'm obsessed with that show, or I was obsessed with that show, and I'm graduating with a degree in criminology, and it's that show. In fact, there's a documentary that I'm in that's coming out soon called "This Changes Everything," and I was asked to be a part of this documentary because the actress Gina Davis, she has this foundation.
Yeah, I love her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's a wonderful actress. She started this foundation in which she was studying, doing research on data, collecting data on programs that just to see if there would be positive role models for girls. Because she was watching like cartoons or something with her young daughter, like a 2-year-old, and she was like, "Why are there so few like girls characters, female characters in these cartoons?" And anyway, so she saw that all this like overwhelming data that supports the fact that there's just not enough positive representation of girls or women in media, television, film, video games, etc. But CSI was like one of the huge exceptions in that it showed, if you can see it, if you can see it, you can be it, right? Mm-hmm. All these young women who, flocked to that field of, forensic science and because of CSI and because of my character, Catherine Willow. So that to me is just so, I was, so honored to be a part of this documentary, which includes like all these amazing people like Meryl Streep and Shonda Rhimes and on and on and on. Yeah.
But that show, I mean, for CBS, that built an empire. And
my God. That show was a monster out of the gate.
Out of the gate, because I did the pilot.
That's right. Oh my God, in Vegas.
Yeah, we were everywhere. Yeah. So I did the pilot, and we were all. It was a little graphic too. The show was a little graphic. Yeah. And I was
Danny Cannon.
Yep, Danny Cannon. And I love that show. I mean, I went to law school, so I love that sort of criminal
You went to law
stuff.
school? Did you tell me that? Did I know that?
Never.
I didn't know that.
Did you ever practice law?
Never. Because I had no idea what I wanted to do after college. So I thought, I'll just go to law school.
But you got to be pretty smart to go to law school.
I guess I'm okay.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I won't
Where'd
say
you go to school?
UCLA Law.
Oh, well
Good
done,
for
girl.
you.
That sounds like a show.
No. Well, I mean, I didn't know what to do. I wanted to get into the entertainment business. I didn't know what to do. Out of college, I panicked. I just picked up I applied to law school. I got in. I thought, it's okay. It's law school. It's not med school, right? It's like going to be easy in my head.
Wow.
Well, because I thought it would be eeasy. And I came out here. Yeah,
all that reading and all that writing?
All that learning.
Oh, yeah.
The only class I loved was criminal law. It's the only thing
Same
I love.
for me with psychology. So my degree's in psychology, and we took a psychology and law class. It was the most fun, the most interesting class about how they pick the jury and the psychology and
Amazing.
all of that is fascinating.
It is. I mean, law is fascinating.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It just is. It's a bunch of liars too, but it really is good. And then my background was psychology. So I graduated with psychology, sociology in college, and then I just graduated, and then I went to law school because I thought, what am I going to do? I want to get into the entertainment business, but I don't know anybody, blah, blah, blah. So I thought I'd just be an entertainment lawyer. Just like that. Oh, I'll just be an entertainment lawyer. And then I never wanted to take the bar because it's not what I wanted to practice. And then when I started going out to job interviews, the only thing I was offered was an assistant. And I'm like, but I have a JD. Didn't matter. You had to, this is back in the day, but you had to sort of pay your dues. But in any event, so that's how I got into the entertainment business. But we did the pilot of CSI, and it was at the time, because by that time I'd been at CBS a while, because I'm there 30 years this year. But I thought,
Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats.
But I thought, I have not seen this type of show out there. Yes, you had the coroner guy, Jack
Quincy,
Klugman,
yeah.
Quincy. There was stuff, but this was just so amazing the way it was told. I mean, the visuals, and you were invested in the characters, because not only did you find out, okay, this is what we do by day, but this is who we are. So for the audience, you let them see the behind the curtain of the characters, of your character, of Billy's character, of George's character. I mean, so it was like a marrying of everything. So you sort of had it all there.
It also, launched in 2000. So it was, Sherlock Holmes for the 21st century with all of that state-of-the-art equipment. And
Which
that
doesn't really exist, right? Does it?
That equipment?
I mean, when I see you staring at the screen and then we see all the computer graphics,
that's what you
are
mean.
you looking at, really?
yeah, we're just looking.
I mean,
at
you're looking at your
a blank
lines.
Screen.
Wow.
A blank-
That's acting.
I was not one of those. I didn't like relying on cheat sheets and stuff. I mean, I had no judgment against anybody who does, but I always kind of tried to learn the lines. But
So obviously some people did.
yes, not so much on CSI. When you saw that was soap operas, because they had those teleprompters
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
those days.
God.
This one actor I worked with, we were like eventually our characters got married and stuff, and he was always looking at the teleprompter, and it was just so annoying. But I digress. The equipment that we actually used on CSI, some of this super high tech stuff, the companies that were launching this expensive machinery wanted it on CSI because it got so many eyeballs, so many people. But sadly, most crime labs don't have
it.
No.
the resources,
Yes, of course. Yeah.
to afford that kind of equipment. So CSI did have like fundraisers and stuff like that, so a lot of crime labs could get this equipment. Also, the other thing too is what's sad about crime labs is the backlog of cases.
The rape cases.
Yes, the
You know,
rape
the
cases
thousands
in
in
particular.
a storeroom that have been
Yeah.
there for 20 years.
What did getting into this character and having to get into this sort of this dark side of life, what did that do energetically to you? I mean, were you able to because I've heard sometimes things weigh heavily on actors, characters, and they have trouble disassociating when the job is done. Tell us, if you wouldn't mind, how that affected you.
Well, I'd have to say the first 5 seasons of that show, because we were our crime unit was the graveyard shift. So we were working whatever 10 to 6 or something like that, and so therefore the show shot a lot at night.
Okay.
And
yeah.
because it gives it a much more evocative, eerie, creepy feeling, right? And it was just just the hours alone and working at night, and my son was 9 when I started that show. It was that wore me down more than the cases did. I guess because we also were, solving the cases. If I had I played like some kind of a serial, because I have many actor friends who play consistently, even though like they're like the sweetest people, the sweetest men. And they are consistently cast as like bad guys and losers, and they just said it just wears you down. In fact, one of my close friends is this actress Chloe Webb. She's a wonderful actress, and she, like her first big thing was when she was cast as Nancy Spungen in that classic cult film Sid and Nancy.
Yeah.
No.
And in which she was so damn good, right?
That was a great movie.
What about the farewell drugs, Sid? Right? Oh my God, she's so good in that movie. But then she had this long like recurring stint on Shameless that show Shameless, in which she would, which I have to say I never saw her on it, but she would say, "Marg, I'm the worst mother ever." But she said it just wears you down. She just would turn stuff down, which would be good projects, but she just can't go down that road anymore.
No. It's
I mean,
hard.
usually I get luckily I once in a while I do get cast as bad girls, which can be fun, but it's usually like a limited thing, like a series, playing it in a series in which you're like a chronic, bad person.
That would be
would wear me down.
Yeah.
I would think so. So let's talk about All Rise.
Let's
Rise.
I have
Let's
to talk
Rise.
about All Rise.
Yeah.
But it's a good show. It's a great courtroom drama. How did you come about? I mean, do you audition even? Did they just call you? How did that work?
All right. Well, this last pilot season, which was, January, February, March of 19.
Yeah. Time warp.
My life has changed so much in the last few months because of this. I sold my house and moved, and new relationship, blah blah blah.
Oh, we're getting there.
Oh my God.
So make All Rise pretty quick. Let it rise and fall quickly.
Anyway, so this pilot season, there were actually, I am not 30 years old.
Yes, you are.
The roles get fewer and farther between as you get older, which that's for men and women, but I think it's harder for women. And even with all the content, but most of the content, all the content that's out there is still pretty much for people like 40 and under. Anyway, having said that, there was quite a few scripts that actually there were like some decent parts for someone of my age, and but usually what ends up happening is because we're all like kind of all wanting these parts, and many of them are just straight out offers, which I get. Anyway, so the All Rise was, at the time it was called Courthouse, right? And I thought, oh, that's pretty generic title, whatever. Okay, I'll read this thing. And I'd read a few others that were pretty good, pretty interesting, of other pilot scripts. Some of which I think are going to be on the air on other networks. But anyway, but I said, okay, I'll read it, right? And a few pages in, I'm like, man, this writing is pretty good. It's like in the days of like the heyday of like LA Law, that good, like that good kind of writing. And then I just got engaged, and it was kind of effortless to read it. The role I play, Judge Benner, is very minimal in the pilot, like two scenes. I mean, there's a couple of scenes I'm in, but don't really have dialogue. So, and I called up my manager. I said, "Is this the part?" And she said, "Yeah, that's." I said, "Okay." I said, I knew Mike Robin, who directed the pilot and who's directing the first episode and is one of the producers. I'd known this guy Mike, for many years, and I've always liked him and never worked with him. But he's in that whole Stephen Bochco world of television. And so he came up, like Stephen like really groomed him, and and obviously Stephen Bochco is kind of a legend in network television. The late Stephen Bochco. Anyway, so I said, just go meet with him and with Greg Spottiswoode, who wrote the pilot, and this guy Len Goldstein, who was the producer, one of the producers, and we had so much fun, and I just loved what they had to say, and they were so excited. It's nice to be wanted, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, I'm in, cool. Right? And then it took them a long time to land the cast, in particular the role of this character Lola, who's she's the judge that is sworn in the pilot episode, and they finally landed on this wonderful actress, African-American actress named Simone Missick. She's wonderful. The whole cast is really wonderful and fun and talented and very diverse, both in front and behind the cameras. It's so cool. Yesterday I went to we had a hair and makeup test, so that included like DPs and gaffers, whatever. And I was like, and of course hair and makeup, and it was like, oh, this is really like kind of cool.
It's like the real world.
It's like the real world, exactly. And because it's set in LA County Superior Courthouse, of course it's going to be diverse, you know. So that also was hugely appealing to me when I read the script, and then of course when I saw the cast. I mean, I'm sort of like the only kind of straight up like white girl on the show.
Yeah, actually, when we did the photo shoot, because we did the new season photo shoot, and we had all 7 of you there. There's 7 principals, right? Yeah.
Yes.
1, 2, 7.
Yes.
And Wilson, though.
Wilson is the white boy.
He's the token white boy, and you're the token white girl.
girl.
But everybody else is completely diverse. But it was so wonderful because I did not work on the pilot. I was.
No, you did not.
I did not. But I got the show, so I was really stoked about it because of
me
you.
Too.
Nice.
And not only you, but then I met this whole other bunch of amazing, beautiful souls. They are, and literally these shoots take hours to do. And you left early because I made sure of that. But the others,
thank you, Gaye.
You're welcome, Mark. But the others, they entertained themselves, and you could really see that there was this camaraderie and a bond between all of you. I mean, we did the first group shot, and I can't say what it is because the ad's not out yet. But we had some music.
Was it?
Not naked, not naked. But it's on
That's
this.
season 2.
Exactly. It's on a platform.
Move fast.
And music came on, and you guys just started dancing. I mean, literally dancing, and it was like, oh, this show's going to go around for a while.
I, went for the upfronts. For those of you who don't know, it's like, all the networks have these
advertising people.
Yes, and it's like a big launch and celebratory thing. You get flown to New York, and it's all fun. I mean, it's hard. It's work.
Yeah, you're still working.
Yeah, you're working because you're talking to a lot of press, and
but with some alcohol, food,
and schmoozing with all the advertisers that are in from all over the country and stuff. And this group of actors were just so much fun to be with, because it's hard to kind of keep saying the same things over and over and over again, and how to you seem like you're you can't think clearly, you can't be articulate or whatever, but because everybody kind of like when somebody was like couldn't quite come up with the answer, like another person would step in and just always very energetic and so much fun, and I was like, oh my God, I'm in good hands here with this group.
No, I'm excited. We start production on Monday, so I'm going to be there because I just want to see you guys. Are you working Monday?
I'm not.
Okay, well, I'll come back
unless
when
the
you are.
Shooting schedule changes.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it is the 11th hour. I don't think the call sheet has come out yet either.
I'm sure not. The script just came out yesterday, so.
But your character comes back in other episodes. You said it was in the pilot only a couple times you're in it, but does your character come back a lot throughout the next?
The next episode, so I guess it would be the second episode. I have 4 or 5 scenes, but the scenes I have, like actually Simone, who plays the character Lola, she said this best because a lot of my scenes are with her because I was the one that I'm grooming her for this position and so on, and she goes, Marg, like because we did like all 3 of these scenes like back to back to back on the last day of the pilot episode that we shot, and she goes, you kind of like come in and you like drop a bomb and then you go. And I go, yeah, I kind of do.
Yeah.
And I kind of do that in this one too. And I like that.
Well, your character's sassy.
Well, she's
smart, obviously.
Yeah.
She's you know who she is, but I love that you just kind of deliver it, but the way you deliver it with the words that they give you, but you add your twist to it. You could have played it bitchy, or you could have played it, but I just love the way that you do play it. It's sort of like loving, but you just make sure your point is.
Yeah, yes, and that's what I really like about the character. But she is, she's
Firm but
tough.
fair.
Yeah.
Yes.
Firm but
Powerful.
fair.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Firm but fair. Yes.
All right, so we're going to swap it now.
Oh, it's gonna get personal.
No, not that personal. It's you don't have to talk.
I
if you don't.
want to ask Cheryl a couple. All right,
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's do this. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me just see if anybody wants to call in, because I think you're just captivated. We usually get callers. 323-524-2599. 323-524-2599 if you want to talk to Marg. All right, Marg and Cheryl, go.
You know, Mark, I did feel that this show is going to really create a following. You know, it did feel like it was going to be around a while, just to let you know. And I felt like, the topic of this show, it hasn't really been hasn't been on TV yet, So it is something new, which, television's always looking for the next big thing. And there's really some momentum around this is what I'm feeling,
Good.
And it feels like the team that you're working with, is kind of a young team, maybe a new team, but that it's open to a lot of growth and diversity. I mean, what a better platform than LA County, it's just such a great stage or city to work with. There's so much going on. It could really be about so many different things. And it felt like your character, I don't know, but it just felt like your character gets more of a lead or something like that, where it starts talking about your personal life, the character's personal life starts coming into play. So it's interesting that you mentioned that you're in a relationship now and you're moving and your life is changing, but also with the show it feels like that character's relationship also starts coming into more of the forefront. Yeah.
Well, Greg, the writer, had mentioned that to me in the initial meeting I had with him, and I've pretty much always been on, like in series. I've pretty much always been on ensemble television, which is kind of the only way to do our television.
Yeah. Oh no.
Because otherwise, it's just, you're killing yourself if you're like the single lead and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to be a single lead. Anyway, so it's nice to, not to work every single day, all day, and it gives you like time to kind of regroup and, but yes, he did reference the fact that, and especially being a supervising judge, and having been in the system for a while, the way, plea deals, they're always trying to like encourage,
It's all done by plea deals, mostly.
Yes, people that didn't even commit the crime.
Yeah.
Right? They still have to make a deal.
Yeah. So, in order to kind of survive the system, she has had to compromise like her original ethics or whatever, and that because I think she had originally started off like a family law type of as a judge in family law and children's court, and which has got to be heartbreaking.
Yes.
Oh my God, but the fact that she's now like championing this new judge and who really does like stand up pretty firm with her principles, and she's not afraid to like say we're going to trial. I kind of have to like assess my like, okay, I know this is the way things because you don't have the resources for everything to go to trial, sadly, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really interesting and fun, and I like all the people very much.
Sounds like it's going to run and run, right?
Yeah.
So hold on. So what else?
Success.
You want to ask something to Cheryl?
What about this guy?
That you're dating? What about the new guy, Cheryl?
The new guy. The new guy. It's a new relationship, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, relatively new, yes.
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
last few months.
I like that. So the question is, how about this guy? It feels like a lot of fun. It feels like a lot of fun. It feels like a lot of socializing. It feels like something that becomes more intimate over time, more serious over time. So it does feel like the two of you walking the path together. so to speak, where it's just you and him. So maybe more exclusivity, that type of feeling. You know, and it feels romantic along the way too, you know, where there's times that you can dance or, you know, take it easy with each other. But I do feel really good communication for some reason. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it feels like good communication with
That's
this partner.
important.
Yeah.
That's interesting because, you know, there have been times in which I've written in my journal.
And now everybody will hear about it.
You know, like, you know, the things that I've bemoaning. I mean, like, you know, it is with every new relationship. You're like, especially in the world of texting. You know,
Is he younger?
He's a few years
younger. All right.
A few years.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it seems like because there's just so much misinterpretation with texting.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
Best way to have a misunderstanding. Yeah.
Yeah.
Best way to have a non-relationship.
Yes, is definitely.
There, I cannot stand. And you know, I'm not blaming millennials because older people do it now too.
Yeah.
I will sit there and text friends. I mean, I don't. They usually text. I usually text back. Then you get in this long conversation, and it's like, pick up the fucking phone.
Well, you
I mean,
end up
seriously.
calling after about 5 lines.
But
then
but the thing is, if they're telling you don't call, you got to text. I mean, it's like you want to talk to that person, you want to engage, but you're shut out.
Yeah.
So and then what happens is maybe a nice fun text because of misinterpretation, because there's no tonal.
Exactly.
Then you're sitting here now, kind of arguing, explaining. I'm sorry. What the fuck is that?
I know. I know. It's bizarre. It's just a weird world that I don't know.
It's difficult to express emotions through texting.
Yes.
I always
And
tell
emojis
people,
don't
do it.
fucking cut it all the time there, because you know you'll send the wrong emoji, especially if someone's into the emoji, and you're like, I just want to say, you know, love you, and it's a blue heart or it's a whatever heart, and all of a sudden it's like S&M. I didn't mean to say that. I swear to God.
Well, that's
I'm
when
sorry,
you-
and then you have to text them back. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say nothing. I mean, we're just friends. Oh my God. Okay.
then you look for a GIF that you would explain it, or a meme or meme. I can't remember. Meme, and that will explain further what you mean.
It takes
Anything
too
but
long.
calling.
You know what? This matters. Hi, how are you?
That's a last resort for a lot of people.
I know.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh God, I have to actually talk to you
kind
on
of
the
old
phone.
school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I could see, I mean, not that I could see or explain it, but the younger generation, but for people our age, seriously.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean,
I knew you would. We're friends. That's why.
Yes.
So is he dreamy?
He's got a hot body, that's for sure. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, he's got a really hot body.
Oh.
But he's an interesting guy too.
You notice? Hot body. Oh, and he's interesting. Don't let him hear this.
No, he's not gonna fight. He won't.
Now, is he just an ordinary type of guy, meaning like not in the biz, like
No, he's not in the entertainment business. No, he's in tech. Which is another thing why I think the communication thing is.
with the techie?
yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's hard.
The techie texting.
Does he tech talk you while you're in bed?
No, but he's very analyzes a lot of stuff. Yeah, analyze it. Yeah.
Watch out for the IT
see-
personalities. Like, remember that Saturday Night Live skit a long time ago where the guy sits down, he's like, "Move!" when he's trying to tell somebody how to do something. Move.
Yeah. Well, he's not. At least I haven't seen that rudeness. But no, yeah, I'm still kind of getting.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah, me too.
That sounds fun. All these new
you.
beginnings.
I know,
you.
lots of new beginnings.
If you don't mind me asking you, you were talking earlier before the show, we were talking about improv. And
Yeah.
you mentioned that, because it seems to me that all the work you've been in that have been, we've talked about, have been drama-esque. Would love to know how, when you know, more about improv and comedy, and if that's something how you felt when you told me that you took a class recently on that.
Yeah, well, it was something that I'd always wanted to study or practice or whatever. From and even when I was at Northwestern, I did audition for this improv troupe that Julie Louis-Dreyfus got into.
Damn her.
But I didn't.
Was she fat?
No, she was cute. But we were in the Three Penny Opera, the Brecht Weill musical at Northwestern, and I was Low Dive Jenny, and she was just like one of the. She was in my brothel. So anyway,
you do make a good prostitute, though.
I've done it a few
I
times.
know.
For you.
Yeah, no, more power to the prostitutes.
Yeah, I have played a fair share of bad girl types. But yeah, anyway, so once I had finished like my long run on CSI, I was on that show for 11 and a half seasons. It was, great run. But I kind of needed a break, right? Anyway.
Oh, hold on. We actually have a caller.
Okay.
Tell me when. Hey, welcome to Between the Sheets. It's Gaye. You're here with my troupe and MARG HELGENBERGER. Who's calling?
This is Sean.
Hi, Sean.
DeCoo.
Hi, Sean. You have a question for MARG, I'm guessing.
For all the ladies. You know who this is, right? Sean White? Palms?
Oh, Sean from the Palms. I didn't hear you. Okay. Sean used to be the manor of the oldest lesbian bar in West Hollywood, which
Manor.
The manor? What's that mean?
No, the manager.
Oh, manager.
I'm sorry, I was thinking and talking. The manager of the Palms, and they knocked it down.
Really?
Damn.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. So there's no longer a lesbian bar in the whole city.
I heard
of
about that place.
anywhere.
What?
Really?
There's not one lesbian bar.
Damn.
Yeah.
Why did they knock it down?
Well, that's a long story. I'll tell you later. So, Sean, tell us, what do you want? What do you want? What are you calling for?
So everybody looks great and beautiful. Hello, everybody.
Thank you.
And I used to do your show as well.
That's
when,
right.
For a few times I was on your show. But I wanted to ask Marg, what was her takeaway from those 11 years on CSI? Like, what did you maybe emotionally get? Like, I understand about it being like straining and tough and difficult hours, but was there like a general takeaway that you got from that specific show, that specific genre of work? Does that make sense, my question?
Yeah, I mean, the CSI was, I mentioned this earlier, it was such a juggernaut that it was so many things all at once. I mean, when a show was that successful early on, it just it's kind of overwhelming. Everybody's like on the talk shows is referencing CSI or and Gaye, you'll remember this. The show was so successful right away that it was being put on like rebroadcast episodes like almost immediately. And
Right.
to the point where like reruns of CSI were beating the World Series, right?
Well, it's
Yeah.
true. And every time something failed on the network, like their new big hit, they'd put on CSI, and it would do crazy numbers.
Yes, it would do crazy numbers. So it was, a phenomenon. It just that does happen so rarely. And I, having been, at that point, I'd been around for a while, and I'd, had worked quite a bit. So I knew like how like special it was to be on something that is so unique and almost groundbreaking and like a real maverick, so
Right.
So it's hard to like separate that experience from what we were doing, which was great. I mean, there were so many talented people on that show, and we all were so working together as a team. I mean, in front of the camera, behind the camera, the writers, the DPs, just the special effects makeup, the special effects department. I mean, it was like extraordinary talent that was involved with that show, and it's fun to be a part of that ensemble, and it's fun to be on that ride together, and and you just want to keep making it better and better, and you get inspired by each other, and you come up with ideas together, and sometimes you're coming up with these ideas at 3:00 in the morning. So I guess like the big takeaway, I guess, would be, and that's I think true of any show, successful television show or team or company or whatever, that it's esprit de corps. It's just a real, it's teamwork, team effort.
They become like family for you.
Oh my gosh, I mean, in some ways you felt like you were spending much more time with that family than you were your own family.
Exactly.
Which you had a lot of guilt. I had a lot of guilt about it. I know everybody has guilt about that.
Well, thanks, Sean. I appreciate you calling, and thanks for watching and listening to the show.
Absolutely.
Give your
Good
mom
night,
my
ladies.
love.
You all look great.
Give your mom my love.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
I will for sure. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, well, we've been doing this for an hour and a half already.
I know. Time flies when you're having fun, ladies.
So I just want to say thank you. I mean, seriously, this means a lot to me, for our friendship, for Lori, for you to sort of believe in me and believe in the show and come on and trust us with you.
My pleasure, Gaye.
I'm going to start crying.
I know. I can tell you're getting emotional.
I'm getting verklempt. But I just want to say that thank you, and it's going to be yet another amazing ride with you this season on All Rise.
Thank you.
Can't wait.
you.
And we have to go out drinking just in the future.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing about this cast. Like, we finished up yesterday at 5:30, whatever, and they said, let's go to the smokehouse.
That's where we go after the show.
Yes, the smokehouse. That's what we did in China Beach when I shot, Warner Brothers.
And it's still there.
It's still there.
And they filmed L.A. What
Confidential?
Was it? No. La La Land, the scene in there.
That one. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, gosh. But the only reason that I didn't join these kitties was because my poor dog. I just felt guilty. I had to get back to him and stuff. But I'm sure there'll be many opportunities to go to the smokehouse.
The smokehouse. And, I want to have you back on because we only tapped a little bit of the surface. And now that we've got everyone all up to date on Marg and her, CBS schedule, I want you on to talk more dirt.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
Tony, cue the music. Got it? Everybody, thank you. Another episode of Between the Sheets.
Yeah, thank
Between
you.
the Sheets
Thank you,
podcast.com.
ladies. Had a blast.
UBN
Thank you.
Go. And we'll be on in 2 weeks. I think it's August. I don't even know anymore. 2nd. August 2nd, we'll have Jonathan Aslay on. He's an author of a book that I can't remember because Mark Helgenberger's here and I can't.
Stars are in your eyes.
All I'm going to tell you, if she swung my way, I would absolutely ask her for a date right now. We'll see you soon. Thank you. Don't forget to email me betweenthesheetsmail@gmail.com if you have any questions or suggestions. I want to thank Tony on the boards.
Thank you, Tony.
I want to thank Cheryl Murphy.
Thank
Where can they
you.
find you, Cheryl?
CherylMurphy.net.
We have Mara Shane. Where can they find you besides the bars?
You can find me on Facebook right now, Mara Shane.
Me too.
Cara Noble.
Cara Noble or Cara Noble Voice on Facebook. And I also write questions and answers on Quora.
Very cool. Also, don't forget another Between the Sheets podcast lady, Melanie Oman Kirshner. She has a gallery opening on July 28th. Look at my Facebook page or Between the Sheets Facebook page for the address. I think it's on Robertson. It's July.
It's on San Vicente.
San Vicente, July 28th. I'll be there, so you should. All right, thank you for watching. Thank you, Marg. Thank you, Lori Glass.
Thank you, Gaye.
And thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Have a good night.
Yes.
Peace.
So much
Peace.
fun. Yes.
Namaste.
Namaste.